friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zita, and on my channel I do DIYs and makeovers on a budget. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at OakWell Home. So let's get started on today's DIYs and see what I've created. So for this next DIY, I'm going to do some floral decoupage on an old wine decanter that I thrifted, and I'm first applying some Fusion Tough Coat there. This is going to help the chalk paint stick to the glass better. So I put 2 coats of Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint on there, and I'm just cutting out a square of these floral napkins that I had on hand, and I'm going to pull those apart because they're 2-ply. And then I'm just pouring some water in a little container here, and I'm going to use a brush to go around that flower, and then I'm going to pull that apart and apply it to the decanter. So I'm just putting some water on the brush there, and then I'm just going to rip it off. Go around, just be careful when you're ripping it. And I have a little Ziploc bag underneath there, and that's how I'm going to be applying this napkin to the bottle there. So I'm just going to turn that over, and I'm going to apply my Mod Podge to that with a really soft brush here. That's actually a makeup brush that I had, and now I'm using it for Mod Podge instead of for my face. So it doesn't rip the napkin, it's really soft. So if you have some soft makeup brushes, I find they work really well. So I'm just turning that over now and just putting that flower on the jar, just pressing it down lightly with that bag there, and just kind of spreading it out. And this way the Mod Podge is not going to go in places where you don't want it to go. It's just on the napkin, and it's not going to be outside the flower, that because it gets kind of shiny and you can kind of see the Mod Podge outside. So now I'm just going over the top with the Mod Podge, and this turned out really well. I'm really impressed how this turned out. After it dried, like I couldn't see any Mod Podge on the outside. It just looks like it's a part of the bottle. I was really impressed how this one turned out for me. So I really like that Ziploc bag method. Let me know, guys, what do you think of this? You like the way this turned out? So for this next project, I'm making a drop cloth heart pocket cushion. So first here, I'm cutting out some heart shapes on this, a couple of pieces of fabric that I picked up at the sewing shop. Now guys, this is my first time using a sewing machine since I was a child, no kidding. I practiced on some little hearts before instead of, you know, doing something straight. But yeah, so it actually turned out really awesome. So I just cut out 4 hearts here that I'm going to apply to the drop cloth cushion. And but I'm not gonna lie, my first time setting up the sewing machine, I had to go to the sewing shop and get a little lesson on how to thread the sewing machine, because it just looked so complicated to me. I did look on YouTube for some videos, but I just couldn't see exactly what they were doing. It wasn't close enough to the machine. So here my dog is kind of helping me out. he's being nosy and wanting to see what I'm doing there. He's so adorable. So here I'm just measuring out the drop cloth and for the width and the length. Then I just rip it and just cut it at the end. Now I'm just using a piece of chalk here to mark where I want my cushion to be and where I want the pocket seams to be on the back. So here I'm using my new sewing machine that I got for Christmas, and what I did there is I put a line across to make it kind of look like the hearts were hanging on a clothesline. And I'm just using the number 1 setting there, stitch setting, and I'm doing a top stitch here around all of the hearts with a red thread, because there's red polka dots and the other heart also has red on it, so it turned out really nice. It wasn't exactly perfect, you know, some of the stitching was a little bit crooked in some areas, but for this is my second sewing project, I think it turned out really awesome, and you'll see at the end. So I'm just going around all of those hearts with my red stitching. As you can see there, in one of the little corners there was a little mistake, but not too bad for my second project. But I did go really slow on some of the stitching. Like, it looks like I'm going fast here because I have the video sped up just for time's sake, but you can go really slow on the stitching. You don't have to, you know, go really fast. So don't be intimidated by a sewing machine, guys. If I can do it, you guys can do it. Look at that. My second project. I'm so proud of this. So now I'm just gonna, I've pinned up my cushion and I'm just gonna stitch around the edges here. And just remember to take out your pins before going over that, because it could crack your needle off. So I'm just pulling out each pin as I go. So like I said, you can go slow and just make sure you get it all done properly. So I did both sides, and right there at the end I'm just doing a back stitch so it doesn't unravel on me. So I've stitched on both sides and I'm just pulling the inside out, and then I'm going to put my cushion in there and you'll see how awesome this turned out. I'm really proud of this project, guys. You'll have to let me know in the comments what you think of this. There's a couple little mistakes on there, and I, you know what to do for next time, but I think it is pretty awesome. I'm very proud of it. Like I said, looks like those hearts are hanging on a clothesline there, as you can see. So let me know in the comments, guys. Have you guys picked up a sewing machine lately? Let me know what you think of this project that I did here. I'm really proud of it. So this next project, I'm going to be doing a double-sided book stack. So I have 3 pieces of scrap wood here that I cut into all the same size, and I'm going to paint these 3 different colors. The first one white, the second one pink, and the third one red. And I just painted it on the sides that you would see the book stack. I didn't paint the bottoms. And I gave these 2 coats of paint for each color, just to make sure that wood color wasn't showing through. So here they are all painted up and dried, and this is how I stacked them with the white, red, and pink. So I'm going to use some twine to wrap around them here. And then I also use some red and white baker's twine as well, just to give it some more color. I'm just wrapping that around a bunch of times. And once I have the both twines on there, I'm just going to use some stamps from the Dollar Tree, and you can see them on the table there. They say hugs, so I'm just going to do hugs and kisses, and I'm just going to put some tape on those just to kind of keep them straight. And when you're applying ink to these guys, try not to apply it like really hard, because it does kind of get on the sides. So if you see that happening, just take a little wet cloth and rub around the sides so none of that gets on there. I did have to touch up my blocks in a couple of spots. So right here I'm putting the X and O in between, and I'm using a white ink on these. So I have the black for the hugs and kisses and the white for the X's and O's. And here's the other side, so it kind of shifted the rope to the other side. So if you want to switch it up, and I'm using some rub-on transfer stickers that I found at the Dollar Tree as well, and these say I'm putting here, "You are loved." And what else did I put on there? Let me see. And I'm just scraping that down, and it's clear around that. So, and these are gold. They did have these in silver as well, which I did pick up as well, but I decided to want to put the gold on there. So I think it says "You are loved" on the top, X's and O's on the bottom, and no, in the middle, and then some hearts on the bottom. So if you get sick of the hugs and kisses on the one side the one day, you can switch it around to the other side with the gold "You are loved" on there. So whatever you're feeling on that day. So this next DIY here, guys, I'm going to be doing a bead garland. I got some wooden beads here that I picked up at the thrift store for like $1 for that bag you see there. And I also picked up some from the Dollar Tree as well. So I'm just keeping the raw wood, and I'm putting some colored beads on here as well, and I do have some frosted pink beads that you'll see here, and I picked these up at the Dollar Tree as well. And I've already made my little tassel here that you see to the side, so I'm going to be attaching that to the end. And I did also put some red and white baker's twine in with the twine here as well, just to give it some more color on the end. And then once I have that tassel applied to the one end, I picked up some black chalkboard hearts from the Dollar Tree as well that you see here, and I'm going to apply that to the other end. I'm absolutely loving these garlands. I'm just using a big plastic needle here to pull that twine through so it doesn't come out. Just giving it a little haircut there on the end to straighten it up, and then applying the heart to the other end. For our next DIY here, guys, I'm going to be making a heart lavender sachet and some stuffed hearts and some wool hearts. Same thing here, just cutting some heart shapes from my heart fabric there that I picked up at the sewing shop. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to run these through the sewing machine as well, and I'm going to put some lavender inside, and you can put these in your clothes drawers or anywhere where you want it to smell really nice. And guys, if I could only get the smell to you through YouTube, it would be awesome, because this lavender and this little heart sachet smell just absolutely beautiful. So again, here I'm kind of going slow around here. It looks like I'm going really fast, but I'm not. So I leave a little opening in my heart here to put the lavender buds in. I'm just using a funnel that I had on hand. So I got those lavender buds in there, and now I'm just closing up the rest of the heart and doing a back stitch so nothing unravels. And this turned out really, really nice compared to the first heart I did. My first little project was a heart, and I can tell you it did not even look near as nice as this. So don't be intimidated by the sewing machine, guys. It takes practice. And for this one here, I had some old pajamas that had hearts on them, so I just cut out some heart shapes for these as well and stuffed them. And I cut these with some pinking shears too, so it kind of looks jagged around the edges. So they turned out really, really nice. What do you think, guys? I think they turned out pretty cool. So there's the stitching on that heart. It looks really nice. The first one I did, not so much, but it's hiding there in the background. And so here I'm using the pinking shears to put some wool on some of the cardboard hearts here. And I find using these pinking shears works really well, because it's like little notches on the hearts that the wool can kind of grab onto. So if you have some of those, I'd suggest using those. So just wrap your wool around there as many times as you want. I wanted all that cardboard to be covered. If you don't, you could paint the cardboard white and then just, you know, leave some showing through. So these are the 2 wool hearts that I did from some wool that I thrifted at the thrift store. Don't they look awesome, guys? I love it. I love the 2 different color paints as well. I think I paid 50 cents each for these wools. So that's a quick and simple. Today, friends, I'm going to be creating a piece of artwork for you under $5. And here's some of the products that I'll be using. And here is my inspiration, some heart art that I found online. And you can use this for Valentine's Day or keep it up all year. I'll be keeping mine up all year. And this is the one that I want to get my inspiration from. I want to use the pinks, the blues, and the purples, and the brighter colors. So I'm starting out with my dollar store canvas here. This one I picked up at the Dollarama. That's a dollar store here in Canada. And this is a 16 by 20 canvas that costs $3.50. So it's very inexpensive. And for my viewers from outside of Canada, you could probably pick up something like this at your local dollar store, because I think Dollarama is only in Canada. So I'm starting out by Mod Podging my canvas, and I'm going to apply some paper towel to the canvas. That is going to give the canvas some texture. And I was going to apply it straight like that, but I thought it's probably not going to have a natural look if I don't rip it. So I ripped each piece of my paper towel along the edges just to give it that natural look. And I'm going to do that along the whole canvas. So you want to apply your Mod Podge liberally, not, you know, overly thick, but enough where you're not going to miss any spots, so your paper towel sticks down in every spot. So I'm going to rip my pieces and do this with the whole canvas. And once I have all of my paper towel applied, I am going to use a white chalk paint to cover up the paper towel, and because once all that Mod Podge is dry, you're going to see all the seams on the paper towel without the paint. So I did apply a white chalk paint all over this piece. But before I applied my chalk paint, I did apply another coat of Mod Podge on top to make sure that is stuck down properly. And then I applied my white chalk paint on top of that once that Mod Podge was dry. So as you can see there, you can see all the discoloration along the seams of the paper towel. So once that was dry, I did give all the edges a sanding to get off all of that extra paper towel and smooth things out. So I did that along all the edges. And then once that I had the sanding done, then I applied my white chalk paint all over. So next I'm using my IOD script stamp here, and I'm using a gray color. Now this didn't really turn out the way that I really wanted it to, because I had the paper towel on the canvas. It didn't really pick up that it was a script print. It kind of looks like just gray dots. So this didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. So this probably would have worked better if I did not apply the paper towel, like on, you know, just the plain canvas. So if you don't want to apply your paper towel and you want to show like a script style here, you can, you know, forget the paper towel. And you'll see here later that I'm going to apply a spackling. So that script stamp probably would have worked good if I would have applied the spackling and then used the script stamp. So for my heart, I'm going to be using some paper rolls here. And I'm going to cut them all down to close to the same size, like slightly variation in height, but mostly, you know, the same height, but use 2 or 3 heights just to give the heart some dimension. And I used paper towel rolls, I use toilet paper rolls, I used some rolls from some decoupage paper that I had used up. So once I had it all cut down, I used my scissors to give it a smooth edge, and I did a little bit of sanding on some of them, but the scissors work quite well for giving it a smooth edge. Now, if you have a chop saw, this probably would work really well for a clean cut, because some of these paper rolls that I had, like from decoupage paper, were very hard cardboard, so I wasn't able to cut it with the scissors like toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls. So you could probably use like a PVC pipe or something like this, can lids if you have them laying around, like if you don't have all it is, but you know, everyone probably has paper towel rolls and stuff like that laying around. So this is a very inexpensive way to get a piece of art without having to go out and buy some supplies. So once I had them all cut down, now I'm going to draw out my heart shape. And I kind of use my ruler here to get the center of the canvas, where I'm going to start with the center of my heart. And I'm surprised I freehanded this heart so close to equal on both sides. I'm not the greatest at freehanding, but this worked out not too bad. And it doesn't really matter if you don't get it so straight, because I'm going to be applying my spackling on this now that I picked up at my local hardware store. And I'm using a pencil here, so if it didn't look, you know, kind of even on both sides, you can kind of just erase that and just make it, you know, more equal. But if you want it to not look so equal on both sides, you can do that as well. So here I'm applying my spackle from my local hardware store. Now this starts out pink, and this is going to turn white once it's dry. So I did this on both sides, and then I started applying my paper roll pieces. Now I was going to do one side and then do the other, but I decided to apply all the spackling because I was getting pretty low on the spackling in my tub there, and so I wanted to make sure I had enough for both sides. And you're going to want to apply your spackling somewhat thick, but not too thick. So I'm just putting all my paper rolls in the spackling, and once that spackling is dry, which I let it dry overnight, all of those paper rolls are going to harden in your spackling. And you'll see coming up here, once I have all of that done, I'm going to flip it upside down so you see that none of those paper rolls are going to come out once that has all hardened up. Now I would have liked some more little rolls as well. As you can see there on the top, I got some little rolls. I would have liked to have more little paper rolls just to give the heart more dimension. But I didn't have those, so what I did is with the some of the paper rolls that were pliable, I just kind of squished them into some shapes that I wanted to, and then put them in there. Like some of them I made circles, some of them made kind of oblong, just to give the heart more dimension. But you can, you know, shape it out however you want to. And like I said, you could probably use can lids for this, bottle lids, you know, whatever you can think of to make this. But I'm using paper rolls because it did not cost me any money. So I'm going all the way down to the end there, and isn't that looking nice? There it is. And now I'm going to use some chalk paints, and this is like some sea glass paint by Krylon, I think it is, Krylon or Krylon. And I'm going to give you a little tip here, guys, when I start using this paint. So this is what it looks like when it's dry, and I turned it upside down so you see that none of those paper rolls are coming off. They're stuck into that spackling. Now I'm going to give you a little tip on some of these spray paints, the Krylon spray paints with the little nozzle. So I'm starting out with some of the chalk paints, the blue, and then the pink. The pink wasn't really dark, and it didn't, you know, it wasn't the kind of pink that I want. So I'm going to be using some acrylic paint after I have all this chalk paint and the sea glass paint applied, and I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to use acrylic paints. So this Krylon nozzles, okay, they have this little piece in the nozzle that I thought I was supposed to take out. You'll see here. There's a little white piece on it, okay? I thought you had to take that out. I thought that was like, so the paint wouldn't spray out. I thought this was a thing that you had to take out. And I actually bought some of this paint last year for a craft, and actually ended up taking it back because you'll see here that it starts to splatter without that white piece in there. And I thought, like I said, so I thought, oh gosh, I got another faulty paint. It's splattering again. It's like a stream and a splatter. So I thought maybe that little white piece is supposed to stay in there. So as you'll see, now it's spraying properly. I have not seen any paint nozzles like this. Like I buy the Rust-Oleum, like the first ones there, the chalk paints that I use, the Bear chalk paints. There was no taking out any little nozzles. I thought that little white thing had to come out to get the paint out, but I figured it out. As you can see there, there's some splatter on there. So if you want that type of effect, take out that little white piece, but make sure you put it somewhere safely so you don't lose it, or else you're not going to get the proper spray. So that's a little tip if you're buying that Krylon spray paint. Leave that little white piece in if you want the proper spray and not the splatter. So here next I am using some acrylic paints that I had on hand, and like I said, I want this piece to be some bright colors. That's what I'm going for here. So I'm adding some water into my acrylic paints with a little water dropper. Now I'm kind of splattering some around, and then I'm kind of just going from paper roll to paper roll, applying the paint where I want it, and I'm going to use some purples and blues as well to fill in all those paper rolls and give it all the colors that I want. And I'm watering down all of these acrylic paints, like I said, to make it fit in those circles easier. Like it's gonna mix with all the other colors a lot better. It's a lot easier to get into all those circles if you water it down. Now, if you don't want to water your paint down, you don't have to. I wanted to be able to apply the paint easier in those circles and be able to mix all those different colors that I was applying. And but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. But this is how I did my process, and to get all the colorful color going all around this heart. And then I kind of did some splatter around, some dabbing, but you can do yours however you'd like and with whatever colors you'd like. So now I'm taking out another set of IOD stamps. This is the letterpress stamps, and I'm going to stamp some words on there. I'm going to put "You are loved" on one end and "You are love" on the other end. So I think it ties in nicely with this heart, and it just gives this piece of art something extra. And I'm lining up all my words here, and then I'm going to use I have some purple ink and some pink ink that I'm going to use for the words. And if you're using your stamps for the first time, you are going to want to give them a light sanding with a, a fine sand grit sanding sponge or sanding block. I use 220 to give them a sanding, going in, one direction and then the other. This is going to help your ink stick to your stamps. I also decided to take out these IOD stamps. These are called vintage textures, and there's 4 different textures in here, and the one I'm going to use is like a crackled glass. Again, this one, I was able to see a little bit of the crackle, but because I have that paper towel on the canvas, it didn't pick up the texture on the stamp as well as I wanted it to. So this is like a crackled glass effect. So I'm going to apply that, and then I'm going to use some more inks around the canvas as well. I think I'm going to use a purple and a pink ink here again. And then I'm also going to use a navy ink as well. I'm just kind of pressing it in, no particular order, just kind of pressing it where I think that the piece needs some more texture and that little extra. So I guess I did use a little bit of like a light green ink as well, or almost like a turquoise ink, I guess. So what I'm doing here is I took some of my brighter acrylic paint, and I'm using my brayer here, and I'm applying that to my stamp. I thought this would, maybe show better on the piece if it was a brighter pink, and it did show up a little bit more. So I applied that again sporadically wherever I felt the piece needed some extra. I'm just getting off the extra paint there on putting that on my stamp, and again just applying it wherever just to give the piece some more texture. And once I had this done, I just use my letterpress stamps again, and decided instead of just having the word loved and love on there that I would put you are loved and you are love. So I applied some different color inks to the stamps just to give the piece some more dimension, some more extra, instead of making it all the same color. And to finish the piece off, I'm just applying some pinks and blue inks around the corners of the piece. And so this is what it looked like before, the products that I use, and this is the final art piece. What do you think, friends, of this? I am loving it. What would you have done differently? What if you applied that spackle all over the piece instead of the paper towel, and then apply your stamps? That way you could see the print more. Or would you do it like this? Let me know in the comments what you think of this art piece, how you would have done it differently, if you would have done it just like this, and let me know what you think of all of these beautiful colors. And if you don't like these bright colors, let me know what colors you would have used for this art piece. Thank you so much, friends, for spending some of your time with me today. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to give this video a like and a comment. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.